The ICU doctors are anxious and the pressure support number isn't down to 12 on the ventilator. He's conscious, all blood work is good. Why can't they take out the breathing tube? That's a question that Darren has, and I'm going to answer it today. My name is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecarehotline.com, and this is another quick tip for families in intensive care. So, Darren, you must have your dad or your brother or probably in ICU. You know, we get questions like this all the time, but let's look at this in much detail. So if the pressure support number isn't down to 12 or lower, that very likely means your loved one still needs much help from the ventilator to breathe on his own consistently, even though he's conscious and his labs look good. Here's why they may be hesitant to remove the breathing tube. Number one, pressure support indicates work of breathing. Pressure support is the amount of extra air pressure the ventilator gives during each spontaneous breath to reduce the effort it takes to inhale. If it's still high, i.e. 12 or above, it suggests his respiratory muscles still may be too weak. He may not be able to sustain adequate breathing once the tube is out. You know, a good number for extubation with pressure support is usually 10 or less. That is if your loved one breathes on pressure support or CPAP already and has been breathing on pressure support or CPAP for prolonged periods of time, i.e. more than 24 hours. Next, maybe he had a failed weaning attempt in the past. You mentioned earlier that an attempt to wean him failed, which can make ICU teams more cautious. They might want to avoid the risk of reintubation, which is associated such as complications like trauma, infection, or prolonged ICU stay, or respiratory failure, which can be life-threatening. Next, consciousness alone isn't enough, even though he's awake. They're looking at respiratory rate, breaths per minute. If it's more than 25 to 30 breaths per minute, it's too fast and the tidal volumes are probably low. Tidal volume, that leads me to tidal volume, how much air he inhales per breath, which should be, by the way, 7 to 10 mils per kilo. For simplicity, if your loved one is 70 kilos, that should be around 490 mils minimum and 700 mils maximum, somewhere in between. But that also then needs to go hand in hand with good arterial blood gases, with good oxygen sats, and a regular breathing rate that's not too fast or not too slow. Also, oxygen requirements. Is your loved one breathing on room air, or does he require oxygen? For example, room air, the air that you and I are inhaling, is 21%. Your loved one might be on 30, 40, 50%. And if it's 40% or more, that's also concerning and would also be a reason not to extubate. Next, CO2 clearance. If any of these aren't stable of support, extubation can fail, i.e. what is his carbon dioxide in the blood? Is he exhaling enough carbon dioxide? Is he awake enough? So what should you be looking for? You might want to ask, what's his current pressure support FiO2, i.e. oxygen, that he's getting from the ventilator, PEEP? What's his breathing rate, also known as respiratory rate? What are his arterial blood gases like? PO2 and PCO2, in particular, also pH. Have they tried spontaneous breathing trial today, yesterday, and the day before? Are they planning to do more spontaneous breathing trials? If yes, do they think they can reduce the pressure support? What's stopping them from trialing extubation if all his other vitals and labs are good? Can the ICU doctor, ICU nurses, respiratory physician reevaluate his readiness for extubation? It would also be very good to have the ventilator settings of your loved one, because then I can guide you even further. Ventilator settings, also the variables, you know, what he's doing. Tidal volume is a variable, breathing rate is a variable, and so forth. And also his pathology, and it will also be good to know why your loved one is in ICU, right? I have written a blog post and an email and also made a video about it, how to wean a critically ill patient off the breathing tube and the ventilator. And I link to that video and blog post in the written version of this blog, so you can check that out, because that is your best bet to take the next steps here. Also, what you also need to ask is your loved one off all sedation and opiates? Check that one out as well. That's very important. And also ask them if there's no neurological impairment, that he definitely didn't have a stroke, God forbid, or a seizure or anything like it. Ask for that as well. So I hope that helps you clarify, Darren. I have worked in critical care nursing for 25 years in 3 different countries, where I worked as a nurse manager for over 5 years in intensive care. And I've been consulting and advocating for families in intensive care since 2013 here at intensivecarehotline.com. And I can very confidently say that we have saved many lives for our clients in intensive care. And you can verify that on our testimonial section at intensivecarehotline.com. And you can verify it on our intensivecarehotline.com podcast section, where we have done client interviews. Those clients will verify and will tell you all about how we help them to save their loved ones' lives. Now, because our advice is absolutely life-changing, our consulting and advocacy is absolutely life-changing. The biggest challenge for families in intensive care is simply that they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what to look for. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know their rights, and they don't know how to manage doctors and nurses in intensive care. And that's exactly what you and your family are up against. And that's why you can join a growing number of clients and members that we have helped over the many years, again, to improve their lives instantly, making sure they can make informed decisions, have peace of mind, control, power, and influence, making sure that loved ones get best care and treatment always. And that's why I do one-on-one consulting over the phone, Zoom, WhatsApp, whichever medium works best for you. And I talk to you and your families directly. I handhold you through this once-in-a-lifetime situation that you simply cannot afford to get wrong. I also talk to doctors and nurses directly with you or on your behalf, or I'll set you up with the right questions to ask. And when I ask doctors and nurses directly, I ask all the questions that you haven't even considered asking, but must be asked when you have a loved one critically ill in intensive care. I also represent you in family meetings with intensive care teams. We also do medical record reviews in real time. We also do medical record reviews. And when we do medical record reviews in real time, it's that you can get a second opinion in real time. We also do medical record reviews after intensive care if you have unanswered questions, if you need closure, or if you are suspecting medical negligence. And we also have a membership for families of critically ill patients in intensive care. And you can become a member if you go to intensivecarehotline.com, call us on one of the numbers on the in the membership. You have access to me and my team 24 hours a day in a membership area and via email. And we answer all questions intensive care related. You can get access to the membership by clicking on the membership link at intensivecarehotline.com, or if you go to intensivecaresupport.org directly. In the membership, you also have exclusive access to me and my team 24 hours a day in a membership area and via email. And we answer all questions intensive care related there. In the membership, and all of that you get at intensivecarehotline.com. Call us on one of the numbers on the top of our website, or simply send us an email to support@intensivecarehotline.com with your questions. And if you like my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel for regular updates for families in intensive care. Click the like button, click the notification bell, comment below what you want to see next, what questions and insights you have from this video. Share the video with your friends and families. I also do a weekly YouTube live where I answer your questions live on a show, and you will get notification for the YouTube live if you are a subscriber to my YouTube channel, or if you are a subscriber to my intensivecarehotline.com email newsletter at intensivecarehotline.com. Thank you so much for watching. This is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecarehotline.com, and I will talk to you in a few days. Take care for now.